The secret is true. Back in 2007, I began studying metaphysical teachings. One of the first books that I read was from Rhonda Byrne. It was called The Secret. And in the book, she described the power of using your mind to attract the things that you want into your life. She provided examples, and there were various experts who also wrote about their experiences, and she put those experiences in her book as well. And I tried using a secret back then as a substitute teacher. My main goal was just to get the kids to pay attention, and I used various tricks. One of them was I would just put a smiley face on the board if they were good, and I found out that that was actually a much more effective method than putting a sad face on the board. Because if you put a sad face on the board, then the kid thinks he's a bad kid, and he starts to act up even worse. And then all of a sudden, all the other kids want to be on the board too, because it doesn't matter if the reason is because they did something good or did something bad. They just want to be recognized. So they all went up on the board, and I remember one day I had about 30 kids under the sad face. And I thought to myself, boy, what if the principal walked in and saw this? What would she think? She would probably think that I'm a little bit cuckoo. So I ended up erasing every single kid's name that was on the board, and I replaced it with a smiley face. And what happened was rather amazing. The students started to behave much better. And instead of having a raucous class where everybody was a bad apple, I had a quiet class where everybody was a good apple. And that was one of the first times I really realized the power of positive reinforcement. But there was something else at work there, and it was the law of attraction. The law of attraction is what I used when I put that smiley face on the board. I was attracting their behavior. I was attracting a change in their behavior. Well, I tried it again in 7th grade, and it actually worked with 7th graders for the first day. Then when I went back to teach the same class the second day, it didn't work so well. But I was surprised at how well and effective it was the first day that I was there. It also works with 8th graders and even 9th graders and 10th graders. It works for about a day, and at the end of the day, they realize that they're not kids anymore, and they feel like they need to be treated like adults, so they no longer want to be under the smiley face. So it could backfire if you use it with 7th graders and 8th graders, but generally it works one time. If you want a one-time fix, it'll work. So that was sort of my experience in my beginning phases of using the law of attraction. And I tried, every time I went into teaching, into a class, I tried to use the law of attraction. And some days I was quite effective, and I would say, you've been really good today, you're all great kids, and I'd put them under the smiley face right away, or I'd put an M&M on their desk as I walked by. And it would be generally effective, but there were occasional days where nothing worked. Nothing worked. I don't know whether the kids just wanted to be bad, whether they were just the, quote, bad boys of the school, or what. But there were some days when it just didn't work. And that's when I realized that I really need to kick into a higher gear. And it really pushed me forward. Also, around that time, my sister developed cancer. And that pushed me into a higher gear too, because here I was using the law of attraction to try to prevent my sister's cancer from spreading. And unfortunately, I didn't have the powers of the mind that I needed to stop that. She eventually passed away. But I really did become a believer in the law of attraction. I saw a lot of reinforcing situations and circumstances that proved that it did work, but that it was really my fault. And I don't remember when I met a famous minister. Well, he's not famous, but he's famous to me. I think it was around that time, actually, that I met a minister who also used the law of attraction, but he used it he was highly effective at it. He was a total master of his trade. You could see by all the incredible treasures he had accumulated in his home, and how he had complete control over his life. He had two jobs. His other job was he was working at a university, but he did also get paid, I believe, as a minister as well. But he was a master of the trade. He had a house with Chinese rugs and expensive museum quality oil paintings and a piano, everything you could think of, really, he had. And not only did he have a nice home, but it was in a prime location in Southern California near the ocean. So, I mean, he really had a lot. And I'm writing a book about that experience right now. And that's one of the chapters in my book is about that minister who used the law of attraction. So I saw myself growing, and I saw myself learning and getting more powerful, so to speak, and learning these new skills. But I still didn't have the breakthrough that I really wanted until March of 2010. And that's when I really feel like I broke up to the next level, basically. And so I'm not going to talk about that experience in this audio format, but I will say that the law of attraction is true, and if you're like me and you're still trying to harness the power, or you're getting better at it, but you're not all the way there, or there's something blocking the way from you being able to develop awesome powers of the mind, then you can feel free to contact me, and I will talk with you about it, and maybe we can work through your issues, and I can provide some insights to you as well during the life coaching session. Thanks again for listening, and I wish you the powers of the law of attraction.